l'Association des universités africaines, en collaboration avec la République Namibie.
Now, academics from around the world have been aired to open a discussion about a transformational knowledge which includes a holistic focus on higher education systems as well as decolonization. Deakin University in Australia brought together scholars from around the world to discuss how coloniality influences datafication and social behavior transformation in education and international development through mathematical analysis.
The online Decolonization Data Summit was held in April and organized by the Network for International Policies and Cooperation in Education and Training, NURAC, in partnership with Deakin University in Australia. During the summit, scholars emphasized on the importance of decolonizing EdTech and promoting equity in education by addressing issues such as lack of transparency, techno-solutionism, digital neocolonialism, privacy concerns, marketization of education, and access to technology in the Global South. Academics were urged to examine how they can shape alternative ways of knowing to stimulate discussion about how they manage the space in which their organizations find themselves. This challenge was presented by one of the scholars who took part in the summit, Crane Seldin, Professor Emeritus of Education and African Studies and former Deputy Vice-Chancellor at the University of Cape Town in South Africa. Seldin urged academics to work towards building a knowledge commons that acknowledges hospitality, reciprocity, generosity, and plurality. He emphasized the importance of acknowledging that a comprehensive understanding of knowledge is unattainable without delving into the aspirations of others. He also contended that decolonization prompts us to reflect on our current position and to challenge all-encompassing tendencies of modernity which aim to center European values and consider Europe as the ultimate symbol of identity and potential. According to him, decolonization advocates for the disruption of Eurocentrism without rejecting Europe itself, and this is a crucial point to consider.
Meanwhile, the World Academy of Sciences, SWAS, a UNESCO program unit, is fronting a $5 million seed grant for new African principal investigators researchers initiative targeting early career researchers from African countries with limited scientific capacity.
The seed grant for new African principal investigators, SGNAP, with funding from the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research, aims to support promising high-level research projects in various fields, including agriculture, biology, chemistry, earth sciences, engineering, information computer technology, mathematics, and medical sciences. The funding will provide around 20 grants in the current call, with up to $67,700 per proposal for periods of up to 24 months. The grants will be awarded to promising high-level research projects in areas mentioned previously. The SG NAPI also has a unique component to enhance the productivity of female scientists returning to academia after a maternity leave, called the Scientist After Child Grant. It provides support for research assistants to compensate for the time lost by women scientists as a result of becoming mothers. According to Max Pauli, the program coordinator of TWAS, the SG NAPI is a modular grant, meaning researchers can request different types of support based on their project needs, such as collaboration with industry or training in different laboratories. This approach makes the program flexible and versatile, allowing for support to a wide range of project needs. This is the third and last call in the current term of funding, but TWAS hopes that the donor will renew the funding. This is the third and last call in the current term of funding, but TWAS hopes that the donor will renew the funding and continue this capacity building program.
Well, there we have it from the Academy of Sciences at TWAS, and this is absolutely great news for Africa. But Jemima, I would want to find out from you what impact can research initiative from the African continent, help with scientific innovation and also help with our progress in the global world?
I believe, research initiatives from African countries can have very significant impact on scientific innovation and progress globally. And one thing is increasing the participation of researchers from the African countries and global research collaborations, and also advancing scientific knowledge in the region. I believe such initiative will contribute to building capacity in African countries and also promote development in scientific talent in this region.
Okay. Yeah. I would actually want to talk about the fact that if we have a lot of these research initiatives, first of all, we are going to definitely boost the number of research facilities we have. I mean, that's one major problem that people face in Africa. We always suffer from the fact that people are interested in offering courses related to science and STEM, but the available facilities are not there.
That's true.
So if there are research initiatives like TWAS, there's the ACE Impact projects, there's a lot of them. These projects, first of all, before they would offer the training, they provide facilities. And that's so with we boosting these kind of initiatives, facilities is sorted. They also provide funds and research grants. People really do want to pursue courses in science and in STEM, but where do they get the money from? And these initiatives are targeting various African countries. They are providing them with adequate funds. And as you also mentioned, we are looking at quality training. And quality training is also one thing that Africa stands to benefit from. And having done all of these, having benefited from all of these, we are going to boost our innovation.
That's true.
We are going to come up with a continent where we are able to come up with innovations that tackle our major problems. We have developmental challenges. We are going to come up with initiatives that work towards that. And Jemima, can we also look at the challenges that these researchers face when it comes to accessing funds to foster their research initiatives? Okay.
I believe there are quite a number of challenges that researchers face, but I'll talk about just a few. And one is, one challenge I'll talk about is limited scientific capacity in many African countries. I believe this makes it very difficult for young or upcoming scientists to establish themselves in their home country. And additional to this, many institutions in our countries or in African countries lack research facilities, as you earlier mentioned. And this further limits the opportunities for researchers to conduct high quality research. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
And another challenge I would talk about is lack of funding. I believe you even mentioned that earlier. Significantly, or specifically targeting earlier career researchers. Many funding that come or that we see nowadays is focusing or prioritizing established research or require previous research experiences, or and funding. And this makes it very difficult for young scientists to access the funding bit of it, because nowadays most of the funding that comes out is mostly based on researchers or researchers that have been in that category for a long time, and they don't prioritize the long and upcoming ones. And I believe that particularly this is true for female scientists who may face additional barriers such as discrimination or lack of support for maternity leave.
For me, I think the fact remains that research is very expensive. But very little is spent on research in Africa, right? Currently, no African country is investing even 1% of its GDP in research. Globally, the average is pegged at 1.7, which is very problematic for we in Africa. Now, in Africa, we are always looking at the government to secure funds when it comes to research. Government is not prioritizing it. Perhaps they've put in the measures they have to put in to get there, but they are not getting there. But then there's an untapped resource that we are not looking at, which is the private sector. The private sector can potentially be a resource that we can tap into to address some of these challenges, right? So maybe governments can start creating a conducive environment for these businesses to succeed. Because if private sector is succeeding, they will be able to invest more in research. When you go to US and Europe, it is not government who is, it is not just government that is contributing to the country's GDP to research. Private sector plays a very crucial role. But that is what we lack here in Africa. We do not involve the private sector. And so all the burden is being put on the government. And so when that happens, students find it very difficult to access funds. And until we look at other options beyond government intervention, the problem of accessing our funds for research initiatives will be a bit difficult. Jemima, finally, what can the government and scientific community like TWAS do to ensure that research initiatives are sustainable and they have a great and massive impact?
I believe there are quite some number of things they can do. One, I'll talk about they collaborating to identify key areas of research that require investment and support, and based on the needs and priorities of the African countries. And this can ensure that the research initiatives are mostly, let me say, aligned with developmental goals of these African countries. And by so doing, it impacts, it has an impact on their social and then their economic progress. Next, I will talk about establishing partnerships with universities and research institutions in Africa. I feel one way we can, the government and TWAS can, one thing they can do is also establish partnerships. And by so doing, they can provide training and mentorship to early career researchers, helping them develop the necessary skills that they need to perform, let me say, a high quality research. And this can, also help research capacities in countries and create a sustainable pipeline for talented research. I believe in Africa here, we have people who are open to doing it, but there is no, let me say, mentorship. There is no guidelines for them to follow in order to, come up with very good researchers. I also lastly talk about the fact that they can also ensure that research initiatives provide not only financial support, but also access to scientific equipment, specialized literature, and international conferences. And I believe this can help career researchers develop their networks to expose them to cutting-edge research and technologies. So this, by so doing, I believe will contribute to their professional development and building a sustainable research community.
Okay. Now, most of these initiatives, TWAS, like I even said, the ACE impacts, they all come with a timeline. And so, they have expiry dates. So we are funding this number of African students for this number of years. What happens when the time ends? That is where government comes in. So they would have to collaborate with government. So, they are basically setting up the pace. Governments would have to get involved so that when that initiative ends or when that duration is over, governments will be able to pick it up. Otherwise, we'll keep having innovations, but then it really would not get anywhere. Now, health news is up next.
So in our health news, weight loss drugs such as Wegovy, which is used to treat type 2 diabetes, have gained much popularity as weight loss medications. However, along with losing weight, users have also reported losing their hair on social media platforms.
Semaglutide, known as Ozempic and Wegovy, and tirzepatide, also known as Mounjaro, were initially developed for individuals with type 2 diabetes. However, these drugs are now frequently prescribed for weight loss as well. Despite this, patients have reported hair loss as a side effect of taking these drugs. Although hair loss is not mentioned as a side effect of Ozempic, clinical trials of Wegovy indicate that 3% of individuals experience the symptom, while tirzepatide caused alopecia in almost 6% of patients who received the highest dose in clinical trials. Dr. Vijaya Surampudu, the Assistant Director of UCLA Weight Management Program in Los Angeles, who has counseled patients experiencing hair loss while taking these drugs, believes that it is unlikely for the medication to be the cause of the issue. Rather, it is more likely due to the weight loss resulting from the drugs. According to Dr. Priya Jayasingani, an endocrinologist at NYU Langone in New York City, hair loss associated with significant weight loss can be attributed to factors such as poor diet, calorie restriction, or inadequate protein intake. Individuals who consume weight loss medication tend to eat less, resulting in an inadequate intake of essential nutrients, which could potentially lead to hair loss. That is, when people eat less than their bodies are used to while taking these medications, the shock causes the body to reserve resources for essential functions, and hair growth shifts to the resting phase. Hair loss during a period of significant weight loss is called telogen effluvium. The phenomenon is temporary and doesn't affect everyone. However, hair loss due to malnutrition can be prevented by discussing diets with a doctor, including enough protein, iron, B vitamins, biotin, and zinc.
Stick with us for Discovery News after this short break.
Hey, so this is Dishant from Unica University Common Application. I recommend you to watch AAU television.
AAU TV is the place to be for every person in higher education in Africa. Better be there or be nowhere.
Continuez de regarder la télé et surtout sur le AAU.
Keep watching it and it will change the way you interact with higher education on the continent. AAU, great job.
I want to tell you that AAU television is fantastic. It's educative, it's informative, and it is a must for anybody who is interested in higher education in Africa.
When I was in Accra last year, I did an interview on this TV. It's a very important mouthpiece.
It's a data, it's a bank of all we need for the development of higher education in Africa.
People should make an effort to view it because it discusses very current issues of development across the continent.
I believe that the station will continue to promote the overall development of Africa, particularly in the tertiary education sector.
AAU TV provides a platform and shares a lot of information to a broader audience. So we wish you all the best and please continue serving
AAU TV,
the voice of higher education in Africa.
The Association of African Universities, in collaboration with the Republic of Namibia and the University of Namibia, cordially invite you to the 22nd edition of the Conference of Rectors, Vice Chancellors and Presidents of African Universities, COREVIP, holding from the 4th to the 7th of July 2023 in Windhoek, Namibia. This year's COREVIP will convene Chief Executive Officers of higher education institutions in Africa, Ministers of Higher Education, researchers, academics, partners from the development and industry communities, as well as all stakeholders interested in higher education. The overall theme of the conference is Advancing Excellence in African Higher Education and is comprised of the following sub-themes. Register today on our dedicated event website at www.events.aau.org/COREVIP or call +233 24473 6280 or +233 2641 73153 to participate in Africa's biggest higher education event holding this year. Do not miss this golden opportunity to network expand your knowledge, contribute to shaping Africa's higher education sector, and form new relationships while strengthening existing ones. To hold a side event, exhibit, sponsor the event, book a speaking slot, and for further information, contact Ransford at aau.org or Ndako at aau.org. AAU, the voice of higher education in Africa.
In our Discovery News, Osidon, in partnership with Discovery, has unveiled a revolutionary tax advisory solution for South African taxpayers. And this new technology will allow financial consultants to offer a one-stop shop solution to any South African taxpayer, providing a holistic view of all products that impact individual tax.
Osidon, the world's first online digital accounting firm, has unveiled a tax advisory solution that will leverage bespoke artificial intelligence software, advanced analytics, and data to provide highest quality of customer service in both tax and financial advisory. According to the CEO of Osidon, Henny Ferreira, the new solution and service offering will benefit not only the client but also the employee. This is a significant step forward for the financial industry in South Africa. Ferreira added that using the latest cloud and artificial intelligence technology, this venture is entirely reshaping how financial services are being delivered. The result is a new breed of financial professionals who will be the face of this next generation industry. Discovery South Africa's head of retail distribution, Carly Nell, expressed excitement about the alignment of Osidon and the anticipation of providing innovative and comprehensive tax advisory solution to their client. Creating skill job opportunities, Osidon plans to fill 300 new positions in 2023 and a total of 1,500 positions over the next 3 years, with tax practitioners being trained by both Osidon and Discovery.
We'll be back with news on sports and entertainment. Stay with us.
In the sports news, Kenya's Kelvin Kiptum and the Ethiopian-born Dutch middle and long-distance runner Sifan Hassan put on a show at the 2023 London Marathon on Sunday, each winning their respective races in style.
Sifan Hassan, a two-time gold medalist at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, made her marathon debut with a bang. She suffered a left hip cramp around 16 kilometers into the race, but managed to work her way back to the lead group. With her track speed proving decisive, the Dutch runner sprinted clear to win in 2 hours, 18 minutes and 33 seconds, with Alemu Megartu taking second place ahead of Olympic champion Perez Cherpchicher. Speaking to the BBC, Hassan expressed her joy at the victory and her surprise at finishing a marathon. They said the marathon will hurt, but I felt really good, even after 5 kilometers and 15 kilometers. When I saw the finish line, I thought, is that really it? Meanwhile, in the men's race, last year's Valencia winner Kelvin Kiptum put on a commanding performance, surging to victory just after the 30 kilometers mark amid confusion at a drink stop. In just his second marathon, Kiptum ended up clocking a course record 2 hours, 1 minute and 25 seconds, the second fastest time in history. Marcel Haag and Madison De Rosario were also recognized for their victories, with Haag winning his third consecutive win in the men's elite wheelchair event and De Rosario claiming her second London victory in the women's race with a course record, while Mo Farah finished 9th in his confirmed final race.
And in the entertainment news, 2 Zimbabwean chefs based in Australia are set to feature in the latest season of the popular reality cooking show MasterChef Australia. Ralph Kahango and Rambedzi Mupedzi impressed judges during the auditions, earning a place among the final 18 contestants.
Kahango and Mupedi were born in Zimbabwe but moved to Australia at a young age. Mupedi, now 29, took a break from her job as an oral health therapist to pursue her passion for cooking. She launched a macaroon business before deciding to audition for MasterChef Australia. Kahango, on the other hand, is an experienced senior financial auditor who developed his passion for cooking from his family. Kahango's family, which consisted of 8 members, inspired him to cook and experiment with ingredients at a young age. The 32-year-old credits his siblings for his understanding of flavors and his younger sister for encouraging him to apply for MasterChef. Mupezi is excited to showcase Zimbabwean cuisine and culture to the judges and viewers of the show. She believes that food brings people together and can bring joy to people's lives. Kahango, who is also looking forward to sharing Zimbabwean cuisine, hopes to one day host his own cooking show where he can share his love of food with a wider audience. Both chefs will compete in the 15th season of MasterChef Australia, dubbed Secrets and Surprises. The contestants will be vying for the title of MasterChef Australia 2023 and the prize of $250,000 Australian dollars. The show premieres on May 1st.
That is all for sports and entertainment news. I am Nana Ismambasam, and up next is the business news.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. Charging up goes a long way. Strengthen your immune system. Your immune system needs all the help it can get. Eat well, stay hydrated. Hands pick up a lot. Avoid touching your face. Your well-being is in your hands. Sanitize regularly. Stay safe. GTP, timeless.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has warned that Sub-Saharan Africa is facing a major financing shortage that is threatening the region's growth. The IMF released a report on the economic outlook of the region, indicating that public debt is further delaying the region's economic recovery.
According to Catherine Patilo, the Deputy Director of the Africa Department of the IMF, in an interview on the Africa News, policymakers in the Sub-Saharan African region should maintain a prudent monetary policy, tightening to ensure that the region's economy is saved from further decline. Senegal's economy is experiencing a sharper than expected slowdown, according to the IMF forecast. The country is also facing worrying inflation, with prices reaching 9.7% in 2022, its highest level in decades. The situation is due to soaring food prices, which is an unbearable increase for most Senegalese households, especially during the holiday season. Meanwhile, in Libya, date producers aim to export their plentiful harvests, but they encounter numerous obstacles that impede their hopes for emancipation. The regions of Wahat and Algila are known for producing large quantities of dates, which reach 150,000 tons per year. However, much of this fruit is destroyed or used as animal fodder due to poor marketing.
International news is up next. Stay tuned.
Now on the international front, the 33-year-old son of Russian President Vladimir Putin's spokesperson said in an interview with a privately owned newspaper that he served with the Wagner mercenary group in Ukraine for almost 6 months. The group, which is called Private Military Company in Russia, has been accused of committing war crimes in Ukraine.
Nikolai Peskov, also known as Nikolai Kols, stated that he joined the notorious private military company because he felt it was his duty. I couldn't sit to one side watching as friends and others went off there, he added. This revelation comes at a time when Russia has launched a major army recruitment drive, urging men to do their patriotic duty in the Ukraine conflict. Nikolai claimed that he used a false ID to hide his Kremlin connections from his Wagner comrades. He also received a Bravery Medal this year for his service with Wagner, but he did not reveal where he had served in what Russia calls its special military operation in Ukraine. Neither did he reveal his assumed name in the interview, stating that he might need to use it again. According to the head of the Wagner Group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, Nikolai underwent a 3-week training course before being sent to join Uragan Multiple Rockets Launcher Group. He confirmed that Nikolai had indeed served in the group after joining with fake documents. Prigozhin, however, provided more details, saying that Nikolai was sent to Bakhmut and showed courage and heroism just like all others. Both Nikolai and his father are under U.S. sanctions.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a quick recap of our headlines.
On higher education, African academics air to open up transformational knowledge. And also, TWAS launches new program to support early career scientists in Africa.
In our Discovery, Usidon and Discovery introduced groundbreaking AI tax service exclusively for South African citizens. And in sports, Kelvin Kiptum and Sifan Hassan nominated London Marathon 2023 with impressive performance.
And I'll thank you very much for staying with us on the Midweek News on AAU TV. Get interactive with us on our dedicated news hub via TV at aau.org. My name is Amikuta Kwanyame.
And I'm Jemima Adeladam Doche.